Here we go. This is just a little bit of prep with me. Just a walk along on some of the prep I usually do. This is a fun little hobby, but there's a lot more that goes into it than a lot of people realize. So this is just showing, being a DM isn't that hard if you want to put in the extra steps. If you have fun with the process, then it can be enjoyable. So today I'm going to be tweaking a little bit of Cargmaw. Now, this is going to be a multi-step process. This isn't going to be done in a day. This is more the brainstorming, just turning this on a whim. Now, this is obviously a cover from another adventure. I do not know what it was. I can easily find things like this, mine them for inspiration, so I can use OSR Castle art, stuff like that, and I would look through this probably. Yep, right there, exactly how I found this. I cleaned this up a little bit, kept the OSR, and threw Cargmaw on top of it. Now, if you're not stealing, you're not trying. Use these people's art. Don't make money off of anybody's thing. But all of this is a resource you can pluck from. If you are doing this just for your home game, the creator of this adventure and 10footpole.org are not going to come kick down my door for using this for my Roll20 art. Now, always give credit where credit is due. Don't take credit for any of these things. But mine them for inspiration and use them where necessary. I've kind of darkened this up, given it that more grittier feel, thrown some ShadowDark stuff on there. And what I'm thinking is I recently ran the Lost Mine of Phandelver. And Cargmaw Castle, I put a lot of effort into Cargmaw Castle. Let me see if I can find the actual art, because I completely redid the castle. I found somebody else's art again of Cargmaw Castle. I I liked this art more than the stock art. Now, the stock art for Cargmaw Castle was beautiful, but this one, I mean, it just kind of spoke to me. I saw it on sale, bought the pack, went through. Now, the original castle actually had a door right here, and it did not have a door here. There were a couple of other things that I come in here in Photoshop and I clean these things up. So I took this into here, I ran it, I had a great time with Cargmaw Castle, and I thought, you know what, this might be a fun little thing for ShadowDark, just a grittier Cargmaw. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of that today. Now, the map pack I did buy had a black and white map for it. Now, I've already fixed a few of the things. Originally, there was a door right here at the start. Now, original Cargmaw layout, as you can see here, there's no entryway coming in straight to Grohl's chamber, and I just don't like the way that the dungeon would flow with that, so I've taken that out. You could have a secret entrance there if you want, but I think the pacing of the adventure is something that's really the dungeon master's job to try and curate. The dice obviously land where they may, but if you kind of have a shortcut that doesn't really feel earned, and then the session ends early, and there's no adversity or in ShadowDark, especially inventory management or risk or fear, then you've kind of taken something from the game. Yes, that's how it would happen, but it's kind of your job to curate the fun of the session. Do as much as you can. Now, you see I've got a little marker here, as in my version of this map, it seems I added a door here to the kitchen, and I think I like that. You can see it was absolute chaos. I used Matthew Colville's minions here, so it was just pouring out. My players never used the front door. A quick run through of how this went for me. It was actually a very fun dual sessions here. They did not go through the front door. They climbed here, killed these hobgoblins, came out, and fought off these minions. They heard them cooking in here. As you can see, I already started. I do too much, guys. I have these goblins here, as you can see. I have a big oaf of a goblin. But I went ahead and made him black and white, kind of fitting that ShadowDark aesthetic. I do that little bit of, just a little bit of effort goes a long way. Sometimes I feel if you're trying to like curate the atmosphere. I'm not going to keep this as a 1x1 Cargmaw to ShadowDark, but I mean, obviously you've got to do the grit. You can see here that I added in a food bowl and stuff. I loved the idea of them coming into here, and I cleaned up this wall too, so there was just clutter, and so it kind of pushed them to finding this, which they never did. But when they would walk in here, they'd see a little bowl and they'd start looking around, probably looting, checking out these weapons down here, the shields, and somebody probably would look at this little food bowl and water, and when they come up, it's going to be goblin runes that says something like Fluffy, and they're like, oh, what the hell is Fluffy? And then right then, just like Jurassic Park-esque, I was going to have slime just land like slop on their shoulder, and they're slowly going to look up and see this hanging in the rafters above them. It was just a fun little moment that didn't get to fire, but that's all right. That's absolutely fine. Maybe it'll do it in ShadowDark. What my players did is they heard the horde of goblins in here cooking, and they thought, maybe we can check down here. One went down, found the storage room, decided to light this place on fire to create a distraction, and then run back himself. He hid in this little nook here. The rest of them poured out to try and put out this fire. They're morons. They're really low intelligence. I even rolled, I think, like wisdom or intelligence in openly. I roll everything openly, and they all failed horribly, so they didn't know how to put out this fire, and they all burned to death. And they ended up kicking in this door, coming in here, and fighting King Groll. They then popped out here, triggered this trap. There were some cultists in here for one of their backstories, and we ended that session. The second session, we started off, and I leaned into their choices. I try and do that where I can. In the next session, this bottom door was burst open by the survivors of the fire, flaming goblins who are like trying to get away from the burning castle now, that are also doing fire damage while they're taking fire damage. It was complete chaos. I believe 2 players went down, but they were able to deal with a few of these goblins, deal with the cultists, and one of the goblins that just ended up, the fire damage took him out, and this entire castle burned down. That's how it went in my playthrough. Now, let's see what we can do here for ShadowDark. I can already look at it and see the flow of the dungeon itself. ShadowDark is very much a long haul. But let's see. I don't want to really curate the path they go on. I still like multiple entrances. I do want to set a door here. I feel like that would help the flow of the dungeon. As it is in this map, currently the only way into the kitchen is after you fight Groll, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You want that big climax right here. I'm also, and I believe I did this in the other one, going to put a door right here, because I want them to have multiple ways in to get to Groll. Here they can pop in here, come in here through the prison, through the kitchen. I think one of these curtains, one was a wall, one was a secret entrance, I believe was in my notes. Let's go ahead and look over all of this. What can I do right now to try and get this map just looking a little bit cleaner? I can go ahead and I can copy some of these doors. Let's get that going. So there are multiple ways that I can do this. One way would be to use this cloning stamp tool, come over here to one of these doors, boom, and come over here and paste it. Another one could be, come over here, duplicate this layer, and use the cutout tool to keep just the door. Now I am going to do this and keep a square here. Get a little bit more in there, and I'll clean that up. Now this is the only thing of this layer, and what I can do here is bring it down, click off of it, click back on. I'll go ahead and just rotate that 90. Coming in here now, all of this could have just been ignored. All of this could have been hand waved. Now I could have just said, hey, there's a door here, but it's entirely up to you where you want to stop this. I go a little bit crazy sometimes with the Photoshop, guys. My players never know how much time I spend on this app, which is absolutely how you want it. You don't want somebody looking at your map and being like, oh, wow, I can tell you did something here, If they think that this is the base map, then that's a good edit for me, and I'm happy with that. I'm already just having difficulties getting this on there. So I'm going to cut this down just a little bit here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit light, and I'm going to, boom, get rid of that. I'm also going to go here, and I'm going to get rid of that there. Now, that is a little bit better. I'm going to come down here, remove. Now, what light will do is, as you can see, a haze. Now, well, if I use none, it's going to be just pixels. Light is much better, but if you get it too close to those black lines, it's going to kind of fade those out, wash those out a little bit. You don't want that either. I'm going to get rid of that right there so that there we go. Kind of clips into that door. Let me see if that's part of that. It is, but that is okay because I can come down here, drawing, brush tool. It's a lot easier with this map. Boom, and make that a lot smaller. Start cleaning up this bottom layer just a little bit. I don't want to get rid of those rocks. That's some good dressing right there. There. Just so you don't see the outline of the wall that was there under this door. There we go. That's nice and clean right here. Good, a little bit right there. There we go. See, we're getting places, guys. And this door is almost done. I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna use the cutaway tool on the upper side of this door here. Let's go. What have I done? I've ruined it. I have ruined it. We're fine. We're back in business here. I'm continuing to click the wrong layer. Okay. Huh. Very interesting. I don't have that top layer selected right now, but it is still editing that top layer. Very odd. Very odd. But it is absolutely fine. I'm also going to clone right here. See, it's a very, honestly, tedious process. But it is a labor of love. I enjoy, as odd as it seems, I enjoy these little edits. Just going through, cleaning these things up. It's a fun process. There we go. Fill tool is so much cleaner, but it's... there. That will do. Now that door looks pretty good to me. That door looks pretty good to me. It looks so good, I'm going to copy it. Now, you can notice a little bit there. See, this is something that I have a problem with. I will do this all day. I have to stop myself sometimes. I have to be like, it's good enough. They will never know. They will never know. But I'll know. And it'll drive me crazy. They'll be sitting here looking through the room, be asking me, oh yeah, what's in these barrels? And I'll be looking at it. I'll be looking at that imperfection. And they'll be like, man, they're going to notice that wall is edited right there. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? Oh, yeah, the barrels. Let me look at my notes. So there we go. Boom, copy this. I'm going to lock that down. I may go ahead and bite the bullet on that. You need to go away. I don't need you anymore. You've served your purpose. Okay, I was about to say, where's my door? My door is gone. Now you see we have kind of curated the entrances here. I'm just going to go ahead on this one. It looks like a much smaller hallway. I'm just going to go ahead. You need to come up. And I'm going to cut that out right there. We're going to have a door. So now we have our two entrances into Girl's chamber. Done. Now what I am hoping for is that my dynamic lighting automatically works. I mean, this is the exact same map theoretically. So I should be able to just drag and drop my new map over my previous one, which I have transmogrified over. There we go. That looks good to me. That looks good to me. I might make it a little bit larger, but then I think we're good to go. I don't want to edit it too much. I don't want to, go through and because I could look at this and I could probably find something else to tweak. But overall, I think that is a good edit here. I think that's a good set of doors. We got our entryway here, multiple entryways. We can always come back. I'll always have this project here. I'm going to go ahead and rename this. And we're going to go to roll 20 now. Let's go ahead. Let's get our new map in here. And let's fingers crossed that this works perfectly. If not, we'll have to do the dynamic lighting again. Let's look at the lighting layer. Yes, it did travel over. Now, with my lighting layers, as you can see, they're kind of in the middle. It'd be a lot easier. It would be a lot easier to simply, let me give one of these goblins vision. It would be a lot easier to just throw lines straight on the walls. But I think that it looks a lot better when you can kind of see a bit of the wall, like maybe a ½ inch halfway into the wall, and you can see the art of the wall just a little bit. It adds a lot more into drawing the dynamic lighting, but I think it does a lot of legwork for you. Because if I just had lines here, you wouldn't see any of that wonderful stone. Maybe it's just something silly with me, but I think it goes a long way. Now let's go ahead, map layer. Let's get our black and white aesthetic ShadowDark-esque map in here. Oop. Oop. We're messing everything up now. There you are. You can't run from me, map. There we go. Now let's stretch that out just a little bit. It looks like it's going to line up perfectly. And oh, oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's let me. Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It worked. It definitely worked. The door did not line up perfectly. That's probably how it was on the previous door as well. Let me check how this door looks. Ugh, it looks pretty big. It looks pretty big. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is absolutely okay. Everything else looks solid. I don't like that kind of sepia tone it gives everything. Oh, okay, yeah, I've got it. It's because I have Explorer mode on. With ShadowDark, I never have Explorer mode on. And I suppose that Explorer mode with a white background kind of gives it that ugly, old, there we go. Boom, daylight mode. Yeah, much better, much better. As you can see, it was kind of chaos in here. Now, let's go ahead and look at our art. This is just AI generated art, I believe. I can't remember. It looks AI of King Groll. Now, I could find another piece of art. I could just go through. I could look at any piece of art here. Sometimes I'll look up ShadowDark art. OSR monster art has been giving me a lot of cool finds, and I'll edit them. They don't have to be this black and white aesthetic, but I do try and push the atmosphere of the game I'm running. And right now, where I'm running a lot of ShadowDark, I mean, I have gotten a lot of ShadowDark tokens, and I could have easily used my wide array of goblin tokens, monster tokens that I have on Roll20 full cover. But as you can see, I mean, it's to the point I'm not even using token stamp for my tokens. I do not use token stamps for my tokens on ShadowDark. Look at all of this. All of it, this kind of black and white, old school aesthetic. I haven't made all of these. Most of these, maybe 95% of these, are from some packs that you can find for VTTs. Somebody made a massive pack of monsters. I name all of them: Bugbear, Shadowdark, Monster, SD Token, Bugbear, Goblin, Shaman. So that way, if I need, Grick, I'm going to know it's going to bring up exactly what I need. Or if I need, let's see, Archer. Let's go ahead and just look up Archer. Now I've got Orc Archers, Goblin Archers, Orc. How did it know that's an Archer? I only named it Orc 5. We're in a simulation, guys. But that beautiful art from Flea Mortals, I love this. I love that. The arrow in the teeth, maybe I can make that a black and white-esque. But let's go ahead. Let's just pull our art in for Groll. Let's use him as an example here and see what I would do to try and like shadow dark him up to bring him into the OSR. Now I could easily go into the effect, go here. That's a bit too dark for what I'm looking for. I like the Olay. The Porter is that kind of hard contrast. I am not some professional editor. This is all just, I mean, most of my editing experience up to this point now or probably comes through Dungeons and Dragons. I love that a few of these really fit. He's a very colorful kind of character, and I'm already seeing something that I'm thinking about doing that adds time to this. So let's go ahead. You know what? Let's do it. Some of these times I try and speed things up. I'm going to duplicate him right now. Bring you down. Bring you up. What? Oh, okay, okay. It's because I'm on here. So if I did that, it would be the same, right? No? Very odd. Very odd. Duplicate you there. Now, I had not confirmed any edits, so that is awkward. But here we are. Olay just seems a little washed. I'm going to go with the Agnes. I'm going to bring it down to 60. Let's try that. Now I'm going to go here, black and white. I'm going to go to the Porter, and I'm going to bring it all the way down. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. just a tad bit darker. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate you in case I need you. I'm going to bring him over the top. Why am I doing this? I wanted it black and white. I do want it black and white, but I want to see what this looks like first. So what if he kept that red cloak? What if that was the only thing? A little pop of color here in this black and white. Let's see what that looks like here. This is a rough cut right now. If it looks good, maybe we do the entire thing. Ooh. Oh, I think it looks good actually. I think I like it. I think I really like it. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah. Yeah. See what I mean by I get myself in trouble in here sometimes? Sometimes I do entirely too much, guys. Sometimes I do entirely too much. I get an idea and I'm thinking, I really need to be done. I really need to be working on what's actually in Cargmaw Castle right now. I don't need any of this. I could use the straight art of Grohl that I have from before and be absolutely fine. I guarantee you my players won't be like, well, it was weird having that one bugbear that was in color. No one's going to care but me. I like to curate the experience, try and not verisimilitude. It's not going to break the immersion in your game. If you're, is this all a cape right here? No. There. I might get rid of all that on the bottom. But for right now, see, I get myself in trouble by wanting to do too much. And I say trouble, kind of lightheartedly. I'm not, this is all a labor of love. I love doing this. I love even this aspect of it. Should I keep that little collar? Ooh, Ruby in the middle stage. Ruby in the middle stage. Yeah. Oh, oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. Look at that. See if I can get those hard lines on the edge of it. Is there like a no? It's just kind of a shade there. I love it. I love it. There's a little strap of red right here, I think. Yeah. I like it, guys. I like it with the red, the little pop of color. There were some dungeons that who was it? What was his name? Nocturnal, I believe. He did these kind of one-page dungeons. Let me see if I can find a. I uploaded it recently, I believe. Oh yeah. By the way, can you see me going off on these little tangents and looking for something I'm not working on them in the middle of a product? That's called ADHD. Uh, I'm along for the ride, guys. I do not control this ship. Um, just go where the neurospiciness takes us. But he really does. You can see he does this kind of pop of color. In all of his dungeons, he kind of has this black and white OSR aesthetic, but then there's another one that kind of has a red. Another one has like a more of a jungly, swampish green. He doesn't do too much. It's very light. It's usually one, maybe a couple shades of that color. But he kind of just has a little pop of color in there. And I think that really makes these rooms feel, unique. Now, I'm not about to do that to this map. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not just because of the fact that it'd be a bit much, but because I believe that the map itself uses kind of different assets. I don't think it's just they made this black and white. I think some of it uses more old school assets. Like this looks the same, this looks the same, but then like some of these benches and stuff seem a little bit more hard lined than they were in the other one. I think he really did kind of remake this. Let's get back to King Grohl. Yeah, that's gonna go. Bop, bop. And Grohl. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually going to exit that out because it looks like I had a name already. King Grohl, Bugbear, Leader, Bandit, Captain, Evil, Monster. You know, I give it all of these tags. And then I copy it. Boom. Now, usually what I would do with this is I would come over to Token Stamp if I'm running Dungeons and Dragons or anything of that nature. And I would just bring it into Token Stamp. Anybody should be familiar with this. I usually like this token border. Now you can do the what was the background color border tint? Yeah, there we go. I could make this darker. I could probably find some sweet spot here, but I found the person who had that token pack also came with the base token here, the a image of the token border. Now I have a white image in the background, as a lot of this OSR art is just white image stuff. So what I can do is when I drag this over, boom, boom, drop it. My goodness, that was a large image. As you can see, it fits perfectly. I'm gonna make him a little bit smaller because I like that little kind of buckler shield that he has. Boom, there he is. Click on him, and then I cut away the edges. And for a lot of this OSR and ShadowDark art, that white background really helps. Uh, Now, what am I gonna name him? I don't know. I'll look at somebody. I'll look at this, and I see he doesn't have a shirt on. He kind of has a shoulder pauldron, a hood. I'm going to go with uh, bandit, fighter, gladiator, shield, sword, soldier, guard, human, hood. Now, I will name things like this so that anytime I look at these images and I think, when would I need, maybe there comes a time where I'm like, you know, maybe there's a time I need well, I didn't think I was going to say this today. Maybe there's a time I need a shirtless guy in there, somebody that's a little bit gruff, scarred, somebody that kind of looks like a gladiator, a fighter, a brawler. Maybe I'm like, man, I need a soldier, I need a guard, I need somebody with a hood, I need somebody hooded, and I'll search up the name hooded, and here we go. I'll have every piece of art I have with a hooded character in my Roll20 library so that later on, when I go over here and I look up hood, you can see I'll know what I'm looking for and I'll let myself before do the work. I don't want to come back here again and have to look up, hooded rogue D&D character and go through the art and have to do it all over again. Do it this first time. Every descriptor that you can think of, put it in there in the file name so that it's easier for reference later. Let's go ahead and close that out, and let's get King Grohl in here. Now you can see we've been running here for a while, and we've barely gotten anything done. It's fine. Now you want to see what I'll do sometimes? You want to go all out with this token? This is what I'm going to do. This is something I'll do very rarely. Boom, I'm going to cut out all of you. Went a little overboard there. There we go. Usually I would try and like fill him here on the bottom, but I'm thinking I want that crown to poke out over top of everything. I think that's a cool, it'll make him unique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to bring him up there. I'm going to go here, boom, keep, and then, oh yeah, sometimes in the duplication you can't. I'm going to remove everything else that's over the border. Boom. So now you can see there's another layer of scroll here. The only difference, I'm actually going to get rid of everything but the crown there. The only difference is that his crown now kind of pokes out of the top of the token. It's kind of like a pop 3D thing. I've done this, very seldomly. My favorite that I've ever done is for an adventure that I haven't run yet. But it's a necromancer, kind of like his arm hanging out of the token, calling down this magic. It's something newer I've been testing out. So let's go ahead. Token. There we go. So we've got King Groll in here. The kind of black and white aesthetic. A little bit of red to pop. The red made it where, since it's such a dominant color, I'm going to go ahead and get him in there too. That really is not that much different than the original. But that's sometimes what happens. You go in there to try and like do something cool and you waste a little bit of time. But a lot of the times I'll learn new little techniques in the editing here. Constantly working on thumbnails, art here, creatures, custom handouts for, magic items and, things of that nature. I put a lot of work on this site right here. I have a pro version of this for a reason. I'm going to boom, boom, get rid of you. I'm going to bring you over. There is Groll in black and white, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him down here. Here he is. He looks like a king. He looks pretty sick. Does that look better, guys? Does that look better? I noticed that the point of the crown was kind of gone, which is fine. But does that actually, because it covers more of the bottom. I think it does. I think it does. Let's go over here, save over this token. Yes. Come over here, delete you. And you can see here, it's a lot of this kind of busy work. A lot of people think that it's just, opening a book and, flipping through it and rolling some dice, figuring out your monster stats at the table. And for some GMs it is, and that's absolutely fine. If you can run off of that little bit of prep, I envy you. I enjoy this long process. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. So this isn't a, look at how much I do for my games kind of situation. This is a labor of love. It's just something that's definitely probably going to be eye-opening for some. How little we've gotten done here, and we have been going for quite a while. Now let's go ahead and look over all of this, and I have no idea what we're going to work on next. Thinking of this in terms of ShadowDark RPG, there's no way. I have seen a small PDF about minion rules or retainer rules for ShadowDark, but even Matthew Colville's Flea Mortals and their minions, which I do recommend, by the way. Go pick that up if you haven't. If you're a 5e player, it's absolutely the best monster book I've ever read. But the minions doing 1 damage per in ShadowDark is absolutely insane. Some first level characters only have 1 HP. So I would have to nerf the number of combatants here. I don't want it to just be straight goblins and goblins and goblins and goblins. And does ShadowDark even have hobgoblins? I actually don't know. I have my core rules here. Let me get to the H's. But I don't want a dungeon to just be the same combatants over and over. And if they are, usually what I will try and do is make them interesting. I will change them up. In this adventure already, I mean, Lost Mine of Phandelver, if you haven't played Lost Mine of Phandelver, I'm not sure what your entry to the 5e hobby was, but it's a mainstay, and a lot of things in the adventure fall flat, especially in that third act, but it is still a great adventure, and it does a good job in a lot of cases of giving you something different, kind of subverting your expectations. So, for example, instead of just, it's a bunch of goblins in this room, it easily could be, we've got a goblin chef. Now, what I'll usually do is I'll lean into that a little bit more, especially in a 5e dynamic. This guy was going to, be tossing scimitars and stuff. Not scimitars, little butcher blades, I'm not sure what they're called, cleavers, at the opponents from afar. And if the goblins started losing the fight, he was going to be like, double rations for everyone, or something, kind of give them a boost to their spirits. To whoever takes down one of them gets double rations, and they all get advantage on their next attack, or something crazy like that. He was also, instead of just throwing cleavers at them or whatever his attack was, I was going to have him like with a ladle, like stirring a pot of stew and picking up and then flinging this boiling stew at them. Essentially, it's the same to hit as his cleavers or his longbow. It's the same damage, but it's a little bit of flavor. It's just something that makes it where you didn't just fight another goblin in that room. This goblin, you fought a couple goblins, and one of them was this half-asleep guard who kept slipping over his own spear, but still landing his attack. So, like, he would run forward and trip and then accidentally bump into your knee, dealing 2 damage. Really, he just landed his attack. Try and add some flavor in to break up the monotony. Like this big blumbering. This guy, he looks like he's been in this kitchen his entire life. But for ShadowDark, it's difficult. We're going to have to think of random encounters. This is probably going to be a random encounter every round kind of dungeon. Just from the look of it, it's a lot smaller than something like Lost Citadel of the Scarlet Minotaur, for example, with 30 plus rooms. This isn't going to go like that. They're going to bust in here. It's still probably only going to be 1 session, but the pace of ShadowDark, there's a chance they get straight to the center. But if they do, they're less heroic than in D&D 5e. So you need to keep the system in mind. You need to keep the fact that they need to rest for 8 hours in mind. I'm going to need to look over this more before I start figuring out who's what and what is where. I know I'm going to keep it interesting. I know I'm going to try and make every room unique. I can keep that flavor that the original Cargmaw Castle had. It's definitely going to be a, for lack of a better word, selling point to this adventure. Keeping that Cargmaw feel for people who want to come over here, and hoping that that Lupo dude, who I actually made a Nilbog, who also died in the fire and they never even saw. But I digress. Wonder if Lupo is going to be in ShadowDark. I remember playing this in 5e years ago. Let me go play it in this new system and see that, the aesthetics change, and see a little bit of the mechanics change. And now maybe the Grick is a wandering monster. As much as I love that scene that could happen of just the drool falling on his shoulder, that could happen in the hallways too. A lot of these things are going to have to be wandering monsters. I'm going to have wandering hobgoblins and goblins. I'm going to have some other creatures in here. Um, and you really need to drum up the survival. A lot of this is broken down. If the rafters really are that messed up, sunlight should be pouring down into it. I'm definitely going to have to nip that because what makes sense, and this is something that may be controversial, what makes sense doesn't matter. What is fun and what protects the core of the game matters. So in ShadowDark RPG, the fact that you need to watch your torches matters. You need to track your inventory and make sure you're tracking your light, and it is meant mechanically to urge you forward. So if I let them come through here and salvage these barrels, and they're like, well, it makes sense that I would be able to break down some of these barrels and maybe like tie a rag around it and make an improvised torch. Yes, it does make sense. But it breaks the core and the spirit of the game. You don't want to say no, but you need to say no in certain situations. And in ShadowDark, especially, dark vision and light should be the only thing you say no about. The inventory management, you can hand wave a few things here or there. It does kind of hurt the game, and it's in the spirit of the game. But I promise you that if you're running a ShadowDark game and you let somebody improvise torches, that you will not be the only person disappointed at that table. Because I guarantee you there's another player, maybe more, who are looking forward to that because it is unique to ShadowDark. It is unique to that adventure. So protect the spirit of these things while also giving them opportunities to improvise. How did we get here? The ADHD is back, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to try and keep the spirit of ShadowDark, keep that crawling aspect. I'm going to be looking over probably black and white art for all of this because I'm a glutton for pixel art. I mean, they should be paying me for how much I'm using this, not the other way around. And that's more of the busy work that I could be getting into right now. I already have a ton of ShadowDark goblins. I ran the Delian Knight's Tomb. There we go. From Matthew Colville's the famous Running the Game series. Oh my goodness, I have more goblins than I know what to do with. I will be absolutely fine. And I put all these in here to run that, to try and give them something different to look at. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get a ton of goblins in here, maybe some hobgoblins, start looking into ShadowDark. What's interesting here? I think they do have a Nilbog in ShadowDark as well. And I need to start looking over the roaming monsters. I need to start building this up. I need to start making it less predictable. I need to change up all of the loot in here. Because you're not going to get XP from killing these monsters. You're going to get XP for the little things you find along the way. This room definitely offers some opportunities. These barrels as well in here. In my Lost Mine, I had a page here on the wall that was like a guard schedule that was stuck there with like some tack that gave them advantage on their random encounter checks because they knew the guard patrol schedule. That could be something that could be very useful. I could put that in each of these rooms, and I could make it where this is a very risky dungeon, and every round you need to roll for a random encounter every single round. But once you come through and clear one of these two rooms, you find their schedule, and now you get a little bit of a better idea. You might run across some guards that are off beat, who are off schedule. So everybody has a pee break, but you now only have to roll for random encounter every 2 crawling rounds. Give them a little bit more of a reward. Give them experience for that. I mean, it's a schedule on the wall that they wouldn't have found unless they took the initiative to bust in that door and do something about it. So I'm definitely seeing some opportunities here for converting this to ShadowDark, but I'm definitely going to keep in mind the spirit of the game, the differences between ShadowDark and 5e, and probably going to make another one of these little videos, just to throw together some ideas. What I'll usually do is I'll go to work, I'll brainstorm, and I'll come back, and I'm eager to put to paper all the ideas I've had swirling in my head all day. It's definitely something that helps me pass the time at work, is working on these things. So I'll probably be leagues ahead by the time I start on this next little portion here. I'll probably have a long to-do list of things that I have in mind. Some of them will get scratched. Some of them I'll look at, and I'll expand on them. But until then, this is just a little bit of what goes into prep.